biggest challenge, at least, or the newest part of it, was not just the sport itself, because that you can learn, right? Is working with such a big corporation as rugby.
Yeah.
They're huge, and I think I don't even know the half of it, because we now know Rugby Americas North, we know RAN, and there's so much more.
I think the minute I stepped on a practice field for rugby, the calling happened.
An 8-year plan to be on the team, and I was in it within 2 years.
Don't wait until you are a pro to be a pro. Right.
And I walk around with a rugby ball sometimes and they're like, what is this child on?
It looks like it was a heavy hit.
It's up, it's not up.
You know, that's the first time I played like professionally.
I'm making rugby money. How can I make money outside of it?
And there was two Scottish guys and they said, oh, you're here for the movie.
That rugby is a game for all shapes and sizes, all cultural aspects.
He looked at me and he says, you guys are awesome.
Grow rugby, 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 grow rugby.
What's up, everybody? Welcome to another great episode of Grow Rugby. My name is GiftTime in Bailu, and this is the show where we speak to people about the opportunities that they have found, created, or taken advantage of via rugby. Y'all, what a weekend. We're talking about a stark opposite of what we had last week, where it was just like, yo, what's going on with the U.S. losing to Canada? Like, who are we? Oh, we came back with it. Cheers to the USA men's 15s team coming back with the remix, hitting it with the win 38-16, and on top of that, taking the aggregate score overall of 59-50 over Canada to do what? We're getting that Canada 1 spot, baby. That means we have a chance to go up against Uruguay and take that win, because we're going to take that win, and get into that America 1 spot. I mean, it's also like one of the hardest areas one of the hardest pools that we have to play to do anything. But the point is, it gives us our spot into the Rugby World Cup, a much easier pathway, all things considering, and we don't have to go through the repêché, which is just more work than it has to be done. You know, it was nice. Canada got the little win and whatever, but you know what? It's all about the final score, and that's what matters most. So USA taking on Uruguay, can't wait to be able to see it. And of course, they got an amazing slate of games between the All Blacks and Ireland over the course of the next couple weeks. So it's about to be real. Yo, that is what I'm talking about. And to add to that, we got an amazing guest today, Tamara Van Leeuwen of Curaçao Rugby. She is the president for Curaçao Rugby Union, a small island out in the Caribbean that's doing big things and will be hosting one of the RAN Sevens tournaments, the Rugby America North Sevens tournament, and it was just a great conversation. Like, it's just getting a chance to learn, and I think it's important, you know, to be able to talk to these presidents of the unions, because it changes the way that we have to have a perspective. Maybe some parts of empathy, some parts a proper critique, but all in all, being able to get a truth of what it means to run these rugby unions and how much work and effort and how much is being included into it. And we got all that in this through the Curaçao eyes, and we're just looking to have so much more. But guys, before we start even going into it, I need you guys to go ahead and hit that subscribe button. If you are listening on podcast or listening on YouTube, I want you to be able to hit that subscribe button, then slowly go hit that notification button so you know whenever we're putting down an episode. And of course, we might do it every Tuesday, but you know, every once in a while it gets wild. You sometimes have to travel, like I had to do, and you know, it moves it down just an extra day. But I want you to never worry that you are being forgotten. And also, please, please, please share this with your friends and family if you guys feel like it's meaningful, because we want to be able to make sure we can spread the message to everybody. So if you're doing it, do it now, please. Do it now. I really need you to do it now. But if not, do it a little bit later, but not too long after you're done. You know, you gotta match it up. And of course, guys, we got to talk about our sponsors. Number one, Green Geeks. Yo, this is the ultimate server. When I talk about the fact that you want to be able to have something that you can have your own, social media is great, you know, but it's not yours. And we all know you're just one algorithm away from losing all the momentum that you made. But if you got your own website that you have your own control over and you can put whatever you want on it, that is where autonomy and power is. And Green Geeks is there to help you, utilizing WordPress as their foundation. It's something that I use for my site, and it is a template that can be used for e-commerce, can be used for profile websites, can be used for anything, and they provide you the templates. And we're providing you 60% off your first year if you hit the link in the description. That is every 60% off, and I'm telling you, it is worth it, and being able to utilize it is better than a Squarespace, much better than a Wix, and you can do so much more with it. Get your own emails and so much. So definitely hit that link below. I know it's going to be like, oh man, he's just selling it, but it's like, no, literally, if you go to my websites, this is what we use. Like, if you go to all of them. And speaking of my websites, definitely go check out rugbyoutletmall.com. It is where we throw together the best merch that we can put together, that we want to be able to represent culture and the moving aspects of rugby across the board, from the HBCU to Icono rugby to your romantic rugby to everything that just allows us to be able to generate towards more and more opportunity of spreading the rugby name. And you guys can get 20% off your rugby gear by typing in GROW Rugby, GREAUX Rugby, RUGBY, 2 words, and you will be able to get 20% off of GiftTime Rugby and HBCU Rugby Classic gear. Time to represent. And of course, as I've said before, we're going to be changing up the stock completely. So get it while the time is still there. It's limited. It's going to be a countdown, but once we start the new era, this is day one stuff. You know, I want to be able to know that if you see me and you're like, yo, I've been supporting, I'll be like, yo, what about your shirt? Did you what you got? And you're going to be like, well, I didn't get it. I was like, are you really a day one? Are you really a day one? So, hook it up. And if not, just for the sake of, you get something for your family. Christmas is coming up down the line. We're already in the end of the year. Like, it's wild. But, y'all, I hope you guys enjoyed this one. It's a great one. Definitely check out some of our other episodes while you have a chance. But right now, before you do that, check out Tamara Van Leeuwen, of president for Curaçao Rugby. Check it out.
Grow rugby, grow rugby, grow rugby, grow rugby, grow rugby.
What's up, everybody? Welcome to another great episode of Grow Rugby. My name is GiftTime and Bailu, and we got
Tamara.
Hi. No, I got you. Don't worry. I got you on the setup. Don't worry. I got you on the setup. All right. We got our VIP guest, and you guys can already hear her on the side over there. All right. Coming out of Curaçao, she is the president for Curaçao Rugby Union. They are about to get ready in February for the Rugby America North Sevens tournament. Going big, recognizing it for the island itself, letting the Caribbean get it be known. Tamara Leeuwen?
Tamara Van Leeuwen. Yes, very Dutch.
Tamara Van Leeuwen. Right, look, you guys know, we're casual on here, all right? We let it be live.
I'll take it. It's all good.
Oh, Tamara, I want to thank you so much for, 1, the patience, and 2, for just taking the time to be here today.
Sure thing. Love to be here.
Yeah.
Thanks for the invite.
Oh, of course. Obviously, I always like to tell people like what's up, and getting to know Curaçao. You guys can obviously check the episode with Robert Perry. We got a little taste of it, and then of course a mutual friend Maria Thomas, which you guys can also go check out that episode as well too. Just was like, look, she came up to me, she's like, yo, you need to go speak with Tamara. Like she's got stuff going on, especially with Rand Sevens. She's interesting. It's like, you need to talk to her. And I was like, all right, Maria, I got you. I
love it. I love it. And I must say, every word of it is true.
So it's like, it's really great to be able to have the time to be able to talk to not only just people who are in rugby, but especially from the position that you are as an authority and being able to see the movement of it. It's a unique area to be in because a lot of people, I always feel there's a little bit of misconceptions and there's a little bit of misconceptions and exaggerations that people outside of that level don't know much about. And then when you get inside, I feel like it also changes the perception. So, hopefully
true.
learn some stuff here.
Right. I think one of the biggest things is, first of all, I think a lot of people do not even know about Curaçao and that we have rugby on the island. So thanks for exposing us. That's great. And Rob Perry did a lovely job having a wonderful interview with you as well, being able to put us out there. Thanks to Ran, obviously, for always inviting us to the tournaments. So yeah, we work a lot on the publicity of Curaçao. It's a fun yet small island, very diverse, and we really work very hard at rugby. So I would say Rob Perry was here from the get-go. For me, it was a little later on. Mm-hmm. Even though I am an island girl, born in Holland, but raised on the island. I was 2 when I moved, so don't know much about.
That's your home. That's
is home, right? So having that native language going on with me and all the other languages, that was a plus side of being involved in rugby for me. But my uncle started exposing me to rugby. At least he was always talking about it. He was a sportsman. He's a cycler. He's a rugbyer. And then when it was a little bit introduced on the island through a school teacher trying to teach these school kids during their pretty much exercising classes, what rugby is, and then having certain little tournaments within a small group. That's how it kicked off. And then my uncle joined a little bit, saw it once, when there was a little tournament going on. I was like, that's cool, that's small. But I never really got involved until I met Rob Perry.
Yeah.
At some point, we met through mutual friends, my uncle, maybe even. This island is
the centerpiece in this whole
right?
card.
Yeah, he's gluing everything together a little bit. So he's also actually still coming on to tournaments and trips with us as our doctor.
Yeah, nice.
So he contributes. He's now
once a rugger, always a rugger, right?
Right. So he's in some shape or form always part of it. He's now not playing anymore because of his age, but I'm sure if he gets a chance to do so, he will jump in. So he still participates. He still helps out as our doctor, and that's great. A big supporter. But yeah, meeting Rob also just on the island, moving about, going out to our local happy hours or any mutual friend party gathering, you'd see kind of sort of the same people. So we're now also partners in life. And that's when I really got involved with rugby. I guess that's where I hear it almost 24/7 at home. Right. And I'm like, okay, I've got to get involved because it sounds interesting, but it's also
attachment through osmosis. It just absorbs into the body at some point.
Right. So it became a lot of rugby at home. And then, of course, besides being home, it was a lot of trainings I would go see. And I think it really kicked off me being part of the organization or the board or the federation, as you want to call it, was when Dominican Republic came to play a 15th match in Curaçao. And we were finally able to host. I was the linking person to the languages mostly. Let's get a field. Let's arrange this.
Quick setup. I was about to say, what are the languages for Curaçao?
Yeah.
Is it like Spanish?
Right. No, it's Papiamento. It's Papiamento. It sounds like a big mixture of, well, they say a lot of languages are involved, but it's a big mixture. Mostly, I think, if you hear Spanish or Portuguese, sounds a little bit African to me sometimes.
Yeah.
That is all in there. It's a
gotcha. Very similar to like almost like Gullah in the South. I don't know if it, but I mean,
never heard it, but you could. Yeah, it started as a dialect, obviously, and it's now an official language for at least 11 years now, for sure.
Nice.
So yeah, that helped a lot, and then of course we have 52 ethnicities walking around on this island.
Nice.
A very central island where people come and stay, big communities of different cultures. So Spanish and English are always spoken as well. So at that point, I spoke 4 languages.
Wow.
Just being raised here.
Wow.
Privilege, right? Yeah, it's great. It's great. Comes in handy. So then Dominican Republic comes in, Spanish. So that was, yeah. I had a couple of good connections, got some nice sponsors going on, was able to work with Coca-Cola, for instance.
Yeah.
We're being sponsored by Polar. That's our, you could say local beer. So I was able to pull all that together. And then they were like, wait a minute, she's actually quite good. She comes in handy. Let's keep her. And that grew quite fast from being just a board member to maybe you want to be president. How about that? So I had to learn about rugby quite quickly.
Did you ever get a chance to get onto the field?
I did. I made sure that I did. Scary. I am a dancer. Okay, Gift. I am
nice.
Yeah, I'm a very sporty girl, though. But I'm a dancer, so I watch my body. Don't want to get any injuries and stuff. But then again, if you play rugby very well, you know the game, then you don't have to get injured, right? Yeah. So I did participate with our women's team, not in tournaments, but just did some trainings with them. I would say 2 or 3, not too many, but good enough to know what it is. It is challenging. It is. It's a great sport. It's a great sport of a combination, I think, of everything, of communication, of skills, it's a mindset, it's physical, it's endurance, it's discipline. It has a lot. And then for me, what I think the biggest attraction to everything is that it has a big, at least on Curaçao, a big family feel. You'll see that in my posts always, that I say we're one family, we stick together, we show up together, we fight together, we cry together if it doesn't go well. So we bleed together if someone gets wounded, it is. It's one big family for me, and I love that aspect. I have that in dance as well. It's a community you get sucked into, and you become a family. So I love the team sports aspect of it. I'm meeting a lot of friends. It allowed me to travel quite a bit, so fantastic.
It adds another little icing on the cake.
It does. I get the whole, I get the full package. I do work hard, I must say, but I do get the treats of, traveling and then exploring different sites and different islands I haven't been on, even though we're in the Caribbean. We should be close by, but yeah, it's great. And also meeting people. I love meeting people. I've lived in New York for 10 years. Yeah. So, that whole buzz of making new connections, look at how many people we know now through just Ran, and even, through Maria Thomas, for instance, who's been a great friend. She came here with Get Into Rugby together with Tamara Dixon. She came out of Canada, but also a good trainer and coach. And the two of them came together to Curaçao. If I'm not mistaken, that was 2018.
Nice.
And that's when we kind of met, and we stayed friends and we look out for each other. So it's been great. We've been in Trinidad and Tobago by the invite of Dwight Logan.
Yep.
Who's done an amazing job setting up a tournament there. And we were like, okay, Maria, I'm gonna steal you. You've gotta participate in the Curaçao team now. I'm sorry. In your own country. Yeah. So she did, which was great. She's now part of the family, as you can imagine. So yeah, and then it's always great to see the faces back when we go abroad. We see Neil, we see Scott, we see Brian.
Right.
We see Erin. Love Erin. She's been out here as well. It's great. It's just great meeting people, and then you stay friends for life.
So I love that, and it does speak a lot to just how communal everything is. I love it because it adds to the experience that you get from it. But I kind of want to roll back a little bit on something. There's a lot of it. You left a lot of gems there, and I'm just like,
take them.
Let's go. So kind of even starting off from the beginning, one of the parts that you talked about was the early stages of setting up the tournament for Curaçao, and whenever the Dominican Republic came in. Right. Now, for you obviously said by at least athletic trade, you're a dancer, because dancing is athleticism, and anybody who argues anyways is out of their mind. I don't even. But for you, was this already something that you had already been doing inherently, working with companies and being able to help facilitate, or was it a situation where you just you knew the people, or has this just always been in your character on being able to facilitate interactions?
I think you actually mentioned all All of them. I think I'm a combination of everything. I have my bachelor's degree in economics.
Nice.
Living in New York, I was organizing and managing a dance studio. I had 28 instructors to pretty much manage and keep track of their schedules. I was also the event rental coordinator, where I've seen a lot of artists coming in. So it was hardcore having to be able to do a good job at organizing, sticking to your schedule, making sure everything runs smoothly. So that organizational side of me comes quite natural.
Yeah.
I was not always the most open person. I was quite introverted when I was young, and I think I still can be. But for some reason, I do love to communicate with people. If it's in my field, and it's something that is an intriguing conversation, or I can take part in, then I love meeting people. I think that's the way to go in life anyway.
I was going to say, I'm not getting any of the introvertism at all. So yeah, I'm going to take your word for it, but I get it. Sometimes it gets to the point where it's you like to be able to, you can spend time by yourself, but you don't have to feel, you don't
right.
You need to disengage. It's just maybe
I've been socializing so much, I need a little me time.
Exactly. I think that's I think we can all appreciate that one. Whereas, I gave a lot of energy today. I was like, I'm good. I'm good.
Exactly. I need to, regroup with myself. So I think everything. I love organizing. At some point, my sister started a bar restaurant at the airport, which is also something that was not, a thing that I was educated at, food and beverages and stuff. But I was educated in managing and organizing and taking charge, being a leader and stuff. So as soon as I moved back from New York, she asked me to take over. So I did that for the last pretty much 7 years. Okay. We eventually stopped doing that. It was a lot of work, but I love to jump in. I love to take challenges. With all that said, sidetracking a little bit, but yeah, I love, if it has to do with management and it has to do with organizing, it comes kind of natural, and it's something I have been experienced in at this point. So when DR came around, that was not a difficult part for me. And speaking about the restaurant I had, obviously I had a lot of connections, such as Coca-Cola or beers or food, so those came in handy. It's a small island as well, so you do make a lot of contacts quite easily. And if I don't know them, then hey, maybe a family member of mine knows them, or a good friend of mine knows them, and then you go through that door. Yeah, right. So it's not too difficult, but you need to be able to communicate well and present it well and keep your word, I guess. If I say I'm gonna give something back, then I will keep my word for that. I want to put everyone and everything in the limelight. If they do help out, it's all about giving and taking. Yeah.
I love it. And look, it's something that I think is kind of interesting because, not kind of, extremely interesting. But the interesting component is within this sport of rugby, I think one of the hardest factors that people have found is being able to connect and put it the engagement between business and the sport itself. I think a lot of people are very copycat. So, you'll know most clubs, even unions, organizations, it's, well, let's fundraise. How do we fundraise? You might do the golf tournament. It might kind of, let's pull friends and family. Let's, obviously dues are always a part, but you typically run the same gamut of options over and over again.
It becomes tricky. Absolutely.
Exactly.
And you have to be creative.
Ineffective at a point because it's now really run, it's very old school. Let's call it what it is. So for you, whenever you entered and when you started entering into that Curaçao rugby situation, and obviously you guys were starting really anew, 2012 was about whenever Robert came in and started?
Right. He came in 2011, near the end of the year.
Yeah.
He had a little trial period of 3 months, if I'm not mistaken. And then in 2012, he was officially in Curaçao, indeed. Yes.
So when you saw that so obviously the system was still needing to be built, but let me actually re-ask this question. As the president, once you stepped in and you saw other rugby unions at work, what did you start to see was some of the, did you start to see any of the flaws that can come into organization that you felt like, okay, we can maybe improve upon here at Curaçao and maybe set a different standard?
That is a very good question that I can go in a lot of directions with. Flaws necessarily, no. I think every island and every union, especially the island, you're dealing with such different people, even though, island has the same island vibe type of thing. RAN is a huge organization, right? So they have a lot of doors open that for us are almost a no-no. I don't know how to give you that example necessarily. Maybe they're so far ahead of the game already. They have so many more connections than we do. So I really have to start from coming up. How do we recognize ourselves? Now we're still also not ranked that well, which we're working so hard on, to actually...
You're almost 10 years. It's gonna get started.
I know, but these tournaments, these people are so tough. I mean, love to see it though. But our kids are so tough, and then we get out there like, oh, we need to do so much better. Let's go. I think that is not our kids necessarily, and I call them kids because they're all my kids, but they're adults.
You take care of look. You got to mama them a little bit.
Right, I'm a little mama hen. Yep, I am a bossy mama hen. Also very sweet. I have a sweet side, Gift. I'm not promoting myself very well here, am I?
You sprinkle in the tough, but it's like, look, it's laying around in the sweetness, right? That's how you guys know it's true love.
I can call it just tough love or protection. I don't know. But yeah, so I think what we're inexperienced at is that we don't get enough tournaments to have that feel. I notice a lot of the times when we're out on a tournament and it's 2 days in a row, by their third game, they're starting to get the hang of it a little bit. Yeah. For some reason, they need to get into that drive, into that mood. I don't know if it's a mindset thing. It's probably both. They have to feel their opponents a little bit better. So I think they're lacking that experience to be out there a little bit more. I think that will build a little bit more confidence. They know exactly what they're up against. Now it's just always a big surprise. And then by the time they kind of have a feel of it, we're a little bit late in the tournament, I think. Because I've seen things happen by the third game that I think, wow, why didn't we do this? The first game. They are capable. They are definitely capable of it. It's just they need to be out there a little bit more. And as you know, traveling is expensive. We had the COVID period, so we were down for 2 years, unfortunately, and that goes for everyone. But what are we lacking as a flaws? Necessarily not, but lacking as to... I think that is one of my biggest ones that I can come up with right now is just to be out there a little bit more. Like, let's say you take Europe or you take America. Right. They can easily drive to a different city, right. Even if it's just for a good match against someone else. Right. We have one union here, one federation, and that's Curaçao. And within we have 4 adult clubs, almost 5. We have 2 female clubs. We have the youth. We have now minis. I'm so proud of my minis. I love my little kids. Definitely little kids.
They can hold the label. They can actually hold the label.
Rob has to do the job, though. I'm just like, hi. And then he's the one, You
build their confidence up. Rob goes and molds it together.
It's your turn, yes. So it's a lot of work for him. I mean, hats off. He's doing so good. They love him.
Partnership. This is why it's a couple.
Right. Yeah. I do it off the field. He's on the field. No, so I think if we have a match, then you get used to your clubs. Oh, that guy is good at tackling, or that guy is a fast runner, or and then you're lacking that experience of being surprised by a player or by a team. I think that's one of our biggest things. As far as going with sponsorships or doing some, putting some things out there, some benefit. How do you call that? I forgot the word for that. I don't know. I forgot the word. You said it.
I don't always remember what I said.
Well, I, for instance, have a bake sale.
the fundraiser.
Oh. Fundraising. There you go. Exactly. I couldn't come up with that word.
Like, I got you. All right, I got you.
All right, you know what I mean. As far as that goes, it's tricky. We try to stay creative. I'm always up and coming with new ideas, but the good side of things is that we always also, this island is forever evolving as to there's a lot of tourism, which is great. We haven't had such a bad COVID experience as certain people. No, we were able to actually continue practicing, which is awesome.
Nice.
We had 2 lockdowns. That was maybe a month and a half each.
Really?
So it wasn't too bad. No.
Oh my gosh.
That was the time period that we didn't do anything or weren't allowed to do anything. We did have curfews and some rules and regulations. We all kept to that. We took out scrums, for instance, wash your hands, keep your distances and such. So, but we were able to practice. So we weren't too lost in that aspect. So tourism wasn't too down, I would say, because a lot of our tourism comes from Europe, and Europe was way worse. So who doesn't want to be out in the open, right? And,
I was going to say, did a lot come from like England, the Netherlands, and et cetera?
America, Canada, and Europe, I would say, mostly.
Oh, okay. So you guys didn't have
wherever it was cold and they wanted to get out and enjoy a beach at least. They didn't care about the curfew. 7 o'clock, the sun is down anyway, so everyone's happy, right? It still worked for tourism. The downfall also what we have is there's not so many. There are opportunities to study in Curaçao, but a lot of people want to experience to study abroad. So once they're 18, 19, and we have them well developed, and you're like, yes, and they go off. And then we have to start recruiting new kids.
Right.
So it has a down and a plus side to it. The downside is that you always end up having to start from the bottom up with these kids. So hence why I'm now starting with them as small as possible. So we keep them a longer period of time. Right.
Let me get the full 10, 15 years of...
Come on, guys. By 10 years old, you guys know what you're doing. Right. I'm hoping for that at least, Gift. But the good side again about it is that we are able to we ask them, coming from wherever they're stationed at that point, we're like, hey guys, we have a tournament. You are from Curaçao. You play for Curaçao. Would you mind coming over? So they do that, and because we're the continuous recruitment of new kids, we have new parenting, and then that expands our horizons as to connections and having to tell the whole story over again. So for some people, the sponsorships and the fundraisers are kind of new every single time, even though for us it's the same pattern.
Yeah.
So that I think I definitely don't take that for granted. We get a lot of help. Our parents of these kids are amazing. They are amazing. That's why I call it such a family community that we have. They come and watch the kids. They're so supportive. They're supportive towards me. If anyone needs to help out a little bit here and there, they absolutely will. They bring in new kids as well, or they just bring in their friends and be like, hey guys, this is something for your son or daughter. Nice. So yeah, it's nice. But yeah, I wouldn't say, and when I started Gift, to be honest, I focused on what I can do with the island itself. So coming back to every island is different. Right. You have to deal with your limitations and, what is a go here, what attracts people here and what doesn't. And I think that is for every island different. So anything that has a sense of community where we can put people together and families can come out too, that, for instance, for them is a plus. So I would never do a fundraiser where it's just very personalized.
Limited, right.
Yeah. It doesn't, it's like, okay, I have to call everyone one by one or send you an email. If I can just gather everyone in one spot by saying, hey guys, we have a big, I would say, barbecue. Bring your kids, bring your family members. We'll do it on the beach. If everyone just wants to chip in, or we have some fun games going on the beach as a fundraiser for so to speak. And then you bring everyone out, and then everyone gets to see it. Everyone gets exposed to it, and that's something that this environment loves. This culture loves. Also to be out there, out in the open. We live under the sun, so why not? You don't want to keep everything. Yeah, the beach life. Yeah, absolutely. So
I love that. You know, I wonder. So with that in mind, like how much do you guys as a sport? Because I assume that Curaçao. What are Curaçao? Let me ask this first and then follow it up. What are Curaçao's primary sports for the island?
Yeah,
football and because I already assumed that one.
Talk about one flaw. We are very known for baseball. I mean, I don't know all the new names. Shame on me, by the way. But we have some really, really big shots that are locals from Curaçao. They start at an extremely young age. I mean, I think almost 3-5 years old. Hensley Meulens also goes by the name Bam Bam. He was one of the first ones out there from Curaçao. He still does a lot for the community here. He's still extremely involved in baseball. He's a big shot. Andrew Jones was another one that finally in my circle of friends, at least at that moment, that went out for Curaçao. And now we at least have, I don't know, 6 of these guys out there that have made it big. So baseball is a very, very big sport here, as is a football or so-called soccer.
Right.
Very big. So our fields, we don't have much rain. Look at that. Isn't that hot? You wish for some rain, right? So we don't have...
Surrounded by water, nothing from the sky.
So if you want a grass field, which is one of the requirements to host a good tournament on the island, right? At least for World Rugby RAN, is have a grass field, certain dimensions of the field.
Right.
All the fields, or at least the open spaces that we have, are baseball and football.
Of course.
I've been really putting it out there in the government, but it's almost they're almost saying tomorrow, if you find something, let me know. There's barely anything open anymore that we can maybe grasp and say, let's make that a rugby field with proper posts, proper dimensions and measurements. It's extremely expensive to hose it down to actually grow natural grass. But yeah, that is one thing that we're definitely lacking. If there is a big soccer tournament, we are always kicked off. We have to give up our spot, so we come secondary. I think that's also one of the reasons why we're not so known as baseball and football. And honestly, I have noticed, at least, I don't want to say it's true, but if they are playing football, they're not rugby people.
Yeah.
And the other way around.
That's the part that I was about to I wanted to even add it, because I know this is such an element that impacts like every country in a different way. You know, with the U.S. is going to be football number one,
right.
Gridiron football number one first and foremost, and then soccer ends up not number 2, but in terms of field spacing, like that's where you're going to find these 2 first, and then only recently able to start seeing more regular rugby spaces, or even wherever. Usually it's just associated with soccer, and then something else. There always seems to be the 2. But I was going to ask you, so because of where you guys are, and especially that there's this elemental potential of being able to bring in these new people like you guys will with the RAN 7s.
Right.
How often do you get to work, and especially because the island is so small, how often do you get to work with the tourism board for Curaçao as well as with the government? Because I know you guys have layers, and that's kind of a parliamentary kind of government overall, right?
No, someone asked me something. Sorry about that.
But so
with COVID, go ahead.
Yeah. Basically, my ask is, over the time, how close is the connection with government and tourism board for what you've done so far?
Not too. For me, it feels not too known. As I don't want to say no connection is not true. I must say also, I came in around the end of 2018 when we first went out with our female team, and they were like, "Oh, let's have a female on tour with us, at least as their management." So that was kind of also a little bit of my introduction to rugby, and then DR came in. So my official status as a president came in I would say 2009 on paper.
2019.
2020, big downfall, right, with the COVID. So I didn't have much time, just in my defense. But what I did extremely well is I started working with schools. They have done it. Curaçao Rugby has done it before, but it's never had been that big as in 2019. This is my way of recruiting, is going to schools, introducing the sport. And then it was through a lot of amazing sponsorships that we did a huge school tournament and beach rugby. Hence why we chose beach is because of the availability of not having the proper field, but also you need less players. So this way, each school could participate if they didn't have the amount of players.
5 players as opposed
to
7.
Right, correct. So they signed up. Rob would coach them. They got that all for free, and then they got an amazing shirt to keep with Curaçao Rugby on it, and the back had all the sponsors. We had sponsorships that provided foods and drinks throughout the day. We had stands to sit on. We had tents for them to locate. We had the ambulance there. So the first aid, everything was extremely well organized. That was my biggest event yet that I had organized, besides going on tournaments. And that was a fantastic way to promote it. We were a little bit recognized at that point by the government. We did invite them. Unfortunately, they didn't show up, but we were recognized. The island is also being put on the spot. So the Curaçao Tourism Bureau loved the fact that, we made a nice reel. We made a film. It's out there on our Facebook page or Instagram. Nice. Go visit it, Curaçao Rugby Federation. So, they were exposed. The beach was exposed. The schools were exposed. The sport was exposed. So that is a fantastic way for me to recruit. I am dying. I have my sponsors already set. They're lined up in line. And then the COVID hit. And so I couldn't pull it off in 2020. Right. 2021 probably is cutting it short a little bit because the schools are still, a little bit iffy about how they were going to kick it off in August. It's going into the right direction. So I'm hopeful by the first half of 22 that we can have this school tournament. We were about to have a partnership with Curaçao Tourism Bureau where I wanted to expose the island a little bit better through rugby. Mm-hmm. Even though it's field or beach, we didn't get to sit down yet, but it is definitely on my list to do, to create an amazing film and see if we can work through that. Yeah. So I wouldn't say it's where it needs to be, but we're working on it. We're not in the unknown section.
Right. You guys are on the table, all right? Now you're just trying to ride into the pile.
Right. Now that the COVID also is, toning down a bit, I think we can make something work. But I'm super busy with tournament going to TCI now, the 7th. Right. That's soon in October, right? The 16th and the 17th of October, it's kicking off in TCI. Of course, every island has their COVID regulations. So it's a lot of organizing from my end. So we're very focused on that right now. And in the meantime, we'll probably schedule a good tournament amongst ourselves here to get these boys ready, working hard. They're getting also training sessions in besides just rugby training. And so I want to promote that now towards our government and put it out in the newspapers and see if Curaçao Tourism Bureau wants to take part in this or not. TCI is a gorgeous island. We've never been, so we're super excited.
That's going to be awesome.
Yeah, that's going to be awesome, right? So we're working on all that. There's a lot on this program of mine that still needs to be worked out.
But you've been planting the seeds, and that's what's most important.
Yes, so absolutely.
You're just waiting to try and see it sprout little bit by little bit.
Yeah, absolutely. But 2020, a lot needs to kick off.
Right.
And having my meetings again, we used to have them in the start phase of Curaçao Rugby. Now it's kicking off again. So I need to do something for these guys. I want to get my youth out there. Lucky that we have February the 7th coming up in Mexico, so that gives us a great opportunity. Let's see if we can make it work. But definitely, we're aiming for it to get our under 18s out there. So there's a lot of back-to-back stuff happening. We want to do something together with, believe it or not, Bonaire is also setting up their own union or rugby federation. They're doing
another one of the islands that you hear too much about.
Right,
I'm not going to say hear too much ever. I don't
at all, right? Aruba, Bonaire, and Curaçao were the ABC islands right next door from each other, and yet it seems so far away. So we want to do a little bit more between us, and it's amazing. I mean, these are Curaçao guys. They moved back to Bonaire. Makai, Ghislaine Makai is in it. She's a female player, also played in Belgium, came back to Curaçao, now lives in Bonaire, and together with Farley, who used to be actually a short period of time also president of the Curaçao Rugby, moved also now to Bonaire, and together they set it up, and we're like, hey guys, let's rock and roll. Maybe we do something ABC Islands, or let's get together. So that's on my list, get the islands out there. That might be also interesting to the Curaçao Tourism Bureau.
Right.
Set
up those baits.
My creative, motor is running nonstop. Yeah. So working on it.
So how much do you guys work? How much have you had a chance to work with even World Rugby? Does World Rugby, because you're a president, does World Rugby involve themselves a little bit or inform you? Do you guys do
all
meetings?
Yeah, absolutely.
So how does that work
completely
because
involved.
again, the perception that people have of how it works, I don't think is accurate to the reality of it. For somebody who's been doing this, and let's say obviously it's 2 years, but let's say a year and a half, because 2020 was 3,000 years of nothing. So or a little, but how has that process been working with World Rugby?
No, it's been great. They've been very, very, very good. They're amazing at communicating. So, without communication, there's nothing, especially if everything has to go through email or through Zoom meeting or something. But they always involve us. They're always, there's a lot of heads up. If you have questions, it's immediately answered within a day. Heads off to Neil Brooks and Scott and Aaron and Brian, anyone involved. If it's a specific question, I can always email them personally. So, they've been amazingly in touch with us. If we need, kit or new rugby balls or new bibs, you name it, they always come out. Sometimes even before I get a chance to reach out, they're like, "Hey guys, are you guys set? You guys need something?" They've been wonderful. And if we have any concerns saying, hey, what's up? We really want to play. Is something happening? We get a good explanation of where we stand and what we need to work towards. And once we're there, it's perfectly organized. I have no negative comments or say, hey, this can be better or that. No, it's from my end perfectly organized. It's everything I need, at least. I don't know. I can speak for everyone else, but yeah. For Curaçao, it's been great, and we just feel very lucky that we can be a little bit part of it. Because the one downside we have, talk about not having that privilege that we spoke about, that every country is different. In 2010, I'm sorry to interrupt you there because I don't want to forget saying this. In 2010, we became independent. We're Netherlands Antilles, so a colony of Holland, and then we.
Also very
something went wrong. I don't want to really go into it because I don't know the exact wording for it or what exactly went wrong. Is that we lost a little bit our Olympic status, and not having that privilege, it does take away a lot of
the
things that we can be part of or that we fit in so that's unfortunate. The island is working on it.
Right. Well, at least it's something that you guys seem to have been focused, because I think that's always the interesting part, that a lot of the countries, especially when it comes to rugby at the national team level, that the Olympic Committee funding and their involvement adds a different level of steroids to development, especially at a performance level versus what it is on its own. I mean, there's always capability on your own, but that next level of, all right, we're preparing to represent for the country, especially 2024 coming up or 2028. You want to be able to have that availability. I know even for the U.S. that there's been a huge benefactor for them in terms of equipment and access to staffing and stuff like that.
There you go. Yep, absolutely. Absolutely. So that's a little bit of a disadvantage for us.
Right.
A little bit is not right wording either, right? It's a disadvantage. Yeah. So we're missing out on a lot of good stuff that we want to be part of. And sometimes I just, try the puppy-eyed thing. And I'm like, oh, please. No, it doesn't work. It doesn't work like that.
Use all the skills. Let's go.
Right? No, it doesn't work like that. Unfortunate. Oh, I just, that breaks me a little bit when we lose out on certain opportunities.
It sets it up. So at least, again, it goes back to, so my next question actually is then, in this position, obviously you said, you have your degree in economics, you took your time in New York, raising the studio, doing the restaurant at the airport. For you, what has been the biggest growth process when it comes to you in this position? And even that year or so before that you were just starting to enter in, what has been one area where you felt like, oh man, this was the weakness in my chain and I got to see it develop most now that I'm here?
Oh, another good question here. Loads of good questions coming from you, right? I think for me, the biggest challenge, at least, or the newest part of it, was not just the sport itself, because that you can learn, right? Is working with such a big cooperation as World Rugby.
Yeah,
they're huge, and I think I don't even know the half of it, because we now know Rugby Americas North, we know RAN, and there's so much more. I think I want to say I grew a little bit more knowledge of how what you asked me before is like, what is done so differently by all the other unions in rugby in different countries and such. Excuse me. For me, it was more working with such an entity that is so huge and so powerful, has so much knowledge and experience and accessibilities that I was not aware of. So that was a big learning curve for me. What is all out there, and how do we talk to these people to be involved, and how can I apply the same tactics and the same ways of running our federation here as to oppose they do for everyone else, because they're covering everyone else. So that was big. That was big for me, and it's still. I'm intrigued. I love learning about it, and they give you the opportunity. Also, RAN offers scholarships, learning programs. I yet have to take them up on that because I've been so busy. It's a lot. Me, and Rob, and I have a secretary. Our board is also amazing. Unima Hawker is amazing. He's a secretary of ours, and Rob Perry. Obviously, I can't do anything without him. Right. Our other international affiliate is Gabriel Brewer. He's been back and forth from Holland. He's been part of it. So all these people have helped us out. But once I'm here in Curaçao, it's a lot, organization-wise at least, it's a lot me. I love being an octopus, but I don't think I had the time yet to go abroad and do a great program with RAN that they've offered. And they're so forever evolving. It goes so fast. I can pick up sometimes. So that's amazing. I mean, I love it. It's I want to be able to keep up, and I want to be able to move as fast as they are. And they're constantly evolving and coming up with new ideas and new programs and new ways. And I want to be part of it all. Unfortunately, I have to pick and choose. But I think that is that was eye opening. That was very eye opening for me. Yeah.
No, I think that's wild. Like, I think that's one part that people can sometimes miss on the level of breadth that you're involving yourself in whenever you're a country union, let alone your whole union, then add that to this global entity. Like, you're literally dealing with a global entity that moves and has 100 years of experience and action behind it. So I can only imagine. And last, one of the final questions, I'm start winding us down.
No, it's okay.
And I've appreciated this, by the way. This is very informative and gems.
I'm sure after our meeting, I go, I
should have said
this. Yes. I might be texting you then, Gift. No.
So this is where you go. This is where you go. All right, look,
add
we're
it
gonna
into
do
the
part two.
conversation.
All right, we gotta do part 2. I gotta
All
remember.
right. Perfect. Yeah.
But for you guys, because you guys are a former territory of Netherlands, of Holland, you know, how often do you end up working, or do you get a chance to involve yourself with the Netherlands Rugby Union? I know they're small too, but again, you guys are kind of working from same plane, different side of the source, you know?
So that's on my list. That's the other number 5 or something on the to-do list.
Just checking it down.
Yeah, to be a little bit more involved with them. Absolutely. It's just a longer flight away. You know, and it's a big time difference. So you're away from the island a little bit longer, and if these people have school or are working or have families that have to leave behind, so it's a little further out there. That's why we're loving the Caribbean aspect. But no, it's definitely on our list. We have been involved. I mean, I know that Rob was involved in the Holland or the Netherlands Sevens at some point. I saw pictures flying by. I don't want to speak for him. However, I know that there has been involvement coming from Curaçao Rugby with them in the past. So it's something we need to pick up back. There's a lot of clubs that I am following. There's a huge European rugby associate going on. It's called EBRA, beach rugby, that is. And then they pick different countries in Europe. And one of the biggest places that they kick it off is in Holland, in Scheveningen. It's a beach area where this tournament is huge. It's not part of World Rugby or RAN, but it's part of the European Beach Rugby Associates. And I mean, we've been participating in that. That was great. If you want to do the whole tour, it takes 6 weeks. They have 6 different countries. Yeah, it's every time in a weekend you're somewhere else. We've been in Portugal to Porto or Figueira da Foz. We've been in Marseille in France. I know Spain has been involved. I forgot the Lignano in Spain was involved. And the last time, due to COVID, it was shut down, but Hungary was going to be involved. So that is a big part of what we do tend to go to in the summers. Obviously, the last 2 years we haven't been able to do so because it was shut down. But that is now the one thing that we do participate in. But we yet have to get to the field part. So that's the beach area part. We need to get back into the Holland, the Netherlands national team.
Because it would seem like it would be such a
them.
natural connection, all things considered. I mean, 10 years off from independence, 11 years off from independence. So, you know, it'd be such a natural and
Absolutely. Yeah. And when people go study abroad, it's mostly Holland, it's motherland, and then for us still considered. And if not the USA, obviously, if you have had that, we have an international school here. So that if you have that as a base, then most likely you will go to the USA.
Yeah.
But yeah, most kids do tend to go to Holland. So for us, it's important. We have our female and male, especially our males, that now recently have moved, but over the course of years, they have moved to study abroad. They, if they continue on with rugby, and most of them have, we post that on our social media as well. We keep track of their, developments in rugby. We recruit them when we need to go abroad if needed. So that is exciting, and that's a big reason why we should stay and are involved with Holland. Absolutely. And they give us access to their clubs.
Nice.
You know, there's some in Amsterdam, there's some in Den Haag, you name it. There's a couple of, they're all spread out in Europe, depending on what city they pick. And then they join a rugby club. And that's perfect connection time for me.
I love it.
Right.
Love it.
Yeah.
So,
but it's home.
You know, Tamara, I got to say, I've loved this so much.
Thank you. Me too.
You, give us what's something that you really want people to understand about Curaçao and Curaçao rugby culture?
All right. Let's see. Not to be negative or anything, rugby is not an. I think if I hear Rob especially speak, or any person that was born into rugby, your dad dragged you to the field type of thing, as you must have heard from Rob. It's in your blood. You know the rules. You know how people speak to each other. How the companionship is. The whole. How to say this? The whole. He always says, "True rugby player." And then it just means for me, okay, this is someone that was brought up in rugby.
Right.
So that brings you to a different culture already. You have the rugby culture born within you. As I was born in dance. My mom was a dancer as well. So, that is already given then. For Curaçao, it is something that was introduced so late. So we develop these kids into that rugby culture that is new to them.
Right.
What is the beautiful side, and I'm pretty sure that goes for everyone else. It's such a disciplined, educational, but not just in your physique, right? As a team player, it's also how these kids are being shaped. Their personalities are being shaped by being part of a team and being part of rugby itself, the sport itself. Right. That to me, it just gives me goosebumps. is the most beautiful thing that I see how they are shaped and how they change, how their personalities change. They become so much better people, if I may say. But I say the same for dance. But coming back, we're talking about rugby, right? So it makes them a better person, and they actually go abroad being stronger, being more confident. And then they come to you and they're like, thank you so much for everything. And the parents, they say it, they like, rugby has changed his life. I have some kids also that didn't know how to diet or be physically healthy and emotionally healthy for that matter. So I think that for me is the most beautiful thing that I can see, is that they get a little taste of rugby culture, how that shapes a child into a better person, physically and mentally and emotionally. And I think, a lot of people take that for granted. I don't know if that necessarily happens in every single sport, but it's been noticeable for me, even so more so than in my dance, because I've seen it. But this is very noticeable to me in rugby. It's huge. It has a massive impact, and it preps them for the bigger world out there. Curaçao itself, what is so lovely about it is that you get to meet so many different ethnicities and cultures. That gives you the advantage, I think, almost to be out there in the bigger world. You learn 4 languages basically from childhood without having to go to school for it. There is no, you're from this family or that culture, or everyone just blends. It's one big family. It blends in. They're always happy. It's fun in the sun. They're very laid back.
Right.
It's not a problem. Make it easy. We do have a time issue. I have a time issue. I was on time with your gift. I was 10 minutes early, actually.
You were right.
I was making sure. Yeah.
Well, I'm Nigerian, so I understand.
I get time management from Rob. No, so everything is laid back and nothing is a big problem, and just calm down. And that's something they all learn, and I'm still learning that, actually, as I say. Be on time, guys. You got to be in time for training. You got to be consistent. You got to be in communication. Can you not make it? Why not? Send us a text. We have group apps. So, it's a whole upbringing, and it's a whole family feel. And that's, so, hey, you're invited, Kim.
I look forward to being able to come down.
Might never leave.
That is very true. Look.
It happens. People come here for internships or something. They're like, I want to live here. Look at Rob.
I know, right? I was only supposed to be here for a few months. 10 years later.
Exactly.
Oh no, I love it. I love it. And where can people find Curaçao rugby information?
We have the social media, obviously. You can totally give them my number if they want to WhatsApp me. It's also on the social media, my email address. But our social medias for now, we have Instagram, and it's all together, small letters, Curaçao Rugby Federation. And we have Facebook, and then it's 3 separate words, Curaçao Rugby Federation. And from there on, you can just totally get in touch with me or send us a message through Facebook or Instagram. We always respond. We love to hear from you. If you're in Curaçao and you're a rugby player, or you want to just try us out, doors always open. Please do so. We love it.
That's so dope. Tamara.
Yep. I'm going to have to send you a shirt gift.
Oh, I'm here for it. Look, I'm willing to add in. Look, I want the culture. I enjoy developing the culture. Like, when you spoke on it, and I go, like, my belief has been 2020 was the end of an era of rugby permeating through culture, and it became the era of culture permeating into rugby. And now creating the individual looks of how rugby is per cultural stance. So I think you guys are actually doing what it is to be true rugby people, as I think it truly means now, and not what it was where it was the concept.
We've got only one way to go, and that's up.
Amen to that. Amen to that. Oh, thank you so much for being on.
Thank you. Oh, we'll see each other soon, hopefully.
100%. 100%.
Right.
Tamara, thank you so much. That I enjoyed every moment of it, and thank you guys for all taking the time to listen, especially you for taking the time to listen. Like, I know you had things to do, but I'm glad that you were able to utilize it into your day and make it part of it, and I hope that it was worth it for you in the end, because that's all I care about. I want you to be happy. And if you're happy, I want you to continue to check out some of our other precious, amazing guests. Last week, we had the hilarious Brandon Davis of Dallas Reds Rugby. Prior to that, we had the amazing Jen Salomon of Old Blue Rugby, of Mexico Rugby, of Northeast Academy, just a Janet of all trades. And of course, we had Theo Henry of Guyana Rugby, new head coach for them, and so much more. Cody Melfi, Olympian. We've had Nia Tapper. We've had Mick Feely of Citizens Rugby Foundation. We had President Maria Thomas, the Trinidad and Tobago. We had Robbie Owens, aka Squidge Rugby. Yo, guys, we've had some amazing people. Marquise Goodwin of MLR's referee team. Erica Mori, former Italian Rugby Union executive and Rugby World Cup star. Nicolette Pantor of Trinidad and Tobago. Jen Nielsen, head coach for York Rugby and former Canada national team member. Ryan Ginty of Next Level Rugby, and just so much more. All right, so much more. Yo, this is episode 60. Yo, guys, get into it. But you guys, I promise you won't regret it. Thank you so much for your time. Thank you for all the moments that you've been able to give and listen and continue to motivate me to be able to continue doing this more and more each and every day. And at the end of all, I hope that you are happy. I hope that you are healthy. And most importantly, y'all, I hope you know that you are highly favored. Until next time, cheers.